Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got some special guests in the building.
That's right.
Yeah.
We got DJ Drama, Don Cannon, and Lake Sheezy. Welcome, fellas.
Yo, what's up?
You should just say the CEOs of Generation Now, right?
I like that intro.
That makes more sense.
Generation-
Now, what is the Generation Now movement, man? For those who don't know.
Generation Now is our record label. It's our company.
Mm-hmm.
We founded it 2015.
Yes, sir.
2015. Our first artist actually was a brother by the name of Scheme. Shout out to Scheme from Inglewood, California. And it was right around the time when I had just came on to Atlantic and got my A&R position.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the three of us, we've been friends and in business for damn 20 plus years since we went to school in Clark, Atlanta, and Morehouse. And so we started the label pretty much basically to create a new movement. Obviously we had already had success with the affiliates and with Gangsta Girls mixtapes and everything. So Generation Now was actually the origins of it was a mixtape series that we started for artists that really didn't make sense to be on the Gangsta Girls at the time. Mm-hmm. So the first two artists that hosted Generation Now mixtapes that me and Cannon was doing was Kanye and Joe Budden at the time.
I heard you say that on 85 South Show.
So that's the label. We have Lil Uzi, we have Jack Harlow, we have City Hendrix.
Where the hell is the Kanye and Joe Budden mixtape? Did that ever come out?
It.
I don't
it came
know.
out.
I got it.
Okay.
Came out in 2004 though, so we were.
Got you.
This is a precursor to what we're doing. I mean, it just kind of came full circle. You know what I'm saying?
Got you.
So I mean,
Now, how'd you guys find your artists? Because most people would be like, everybody raps now. Everybody has a demo. So how are you guys finding the artists? Because they're from so many different places. Like you just said, somebody's from LA, somebody's from Atlanta, somebody's from Philly. So how do y'all get the artists to decide who y'all want to work with?
Man, you come across a lot of talent. As us, we're just, we look for convicted artists, people that have visions. And, there's people he named like Scheme and Uzi and Seti and Jack, they're all convicted artists. They all have a vision. They all have something that we're used to seeing over the years. We saw it from T.I. to Jeezy, Gotti, and Slim Thug. There's so many people over the years we did tapes for that we saw this conviction for, So that's how we find our artists. You just be in places, me and Drum, in the field DJing. You might be in Houston, you may be in LA, and you just run into people and you just get a feel for what they are. You get the music, and that's the rest is history.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all all have to agree? Do y'all all have to agree on the artist, or is it one time where Drama brings an artist and Cannon, you like hell no, or Sheezy, you got an artist, and they're like nah, fuck that? Like, do y'all all have to agree?
Absolutely, and I'm probably the only one that's always saying hell no to everything.
Cannon usually the no guy.
Really?
I'm usually rolling with whatever they say, just because I gotta trust their minds. Like their history pretty much speaks for itself. So I'm pretty much rolling with whatever. I'm on the business side, so if they bring it 9 times out of 10, they've already talked about it, and it's just like, hey, this is something we want to do.
Why is Cannon the no guy though?
Definitely the no guy. You wouldn't expect that?
Yeah, who do you say no to at first?
A lot.
Man, how much time you got?
So who have you said no to that you were absolutely wrong? Had to be a lot, right?
Oh, nothing comes to mind who I would have said no to, but there's a lot of things where sometimes I get in a purist mode. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the times I don't see a lot of things. You know what I'm
You
saying?
go 90s hip hop and you like, it ain't that boom bap. It ain't what I'm used to.
Yeah, not even that. It's more like a little bit of that combination, and it's like, is that authentic? Is that really what that is? You know what I mean? So I question it, but sometimes, it's good to have these guys, because Drama will tell me in a minute, man, you tripping. And then I'll be like, all right, I'm going to fall back on this one. Let me see where y'all go. And they take it there.
But I'm also I'm also like, when Cannon first told me about Uzi, I remember specifically not ever hearing any music, him just saying, yo, it's this kid in Philly named Lil Uzi, and I was like, man, run it, let's do it. Like, if you say that's it, let's go.
Right.
When did you open up your palette, so to speak, Cannon? Because you went to Clark, Atlanta.
Funny story. Even when we moving into Generation Now, I was really, like Envy said, purist. Like I was real hip hop, grimy. It was looking authentic. And I think I was in Philly, and I ran into this artist, Jimmy Wall Street, and we were always like, we need to get a Philly artist, and Jimmy Wall Street was one of those artists. He died, by the way, rest in peace. He's one of those artists that had the Philly feel, but still was doing different things. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, he was harmonizing, he was picking different flows. It just was like, it felt different. You know what I'm saying? And then I thought, oh my God, I gotta start really thinking about, versatile artists instead of just the hardest rapper out. And I think that just opened my palette to seeing different things. You know what I mean?
Who did y'all pass up on? Is there any artist that y'all passed up on and be like, damn, we had a chance and didn't sign him or her?
I mean, we've discussed this before, but we had interest in the Migos early on. Around the same time, there were other people that had interest in them as well. I had actually took a trip. I came up here with Quavo. We took a meeting one time. We were early interested in Tory Lanez.
This is when the Migos were having a little issues with QC at the time?
No, that's before prior to that.
Okay.
Yeah, this was when before they actually did their deal with QC. Tory, OT Genesis.
OT.
Yeah. To name a few.
I wanted to ask Cannon, right? You talk about being a purist. Even when you listen to the Recession album, those beats that you gave Jeezy, some people may think, I wouldn't have gave those to Jeezy, right? But it worked, more than worked. Were you hesitant?
I wasn't hesitant, but I always knew that I could pull something out of the artist, and that's the thing that I try to do the most. If you're gonna go and continue to do this style, I want to take you to another level. I always had a vision too with Jeezy was to try to get him to move into a blueprint era like Jay-Z. You know what I mean? Giving them hip hop records, and I wanted to die by that statement. Like, I'll walk away from this if I can't give you Circulate. I'll walk away from this if I can't give you Go Crazy. I still do it to this day with him. I won't talk to him if we can't do groundbreaking things. You know what I mean? And that's just me.
How did you know Jeezy had that in him? Because I literally said the same thing this morning about Drake. I was like, yo, Drake always does the numbers, right? But I'm looking for that. I said Jay-Z blueprint. I'm looking for that Nas Stillmatic, that Wayne Carter 3. How do you? Because I know he got that in him. How do you know when an artist has that in him?
Through conversation. When you have a conversation with somebody like Jeezy, and a lot of the rappers coming up, it's like, I ain't no rapper, I'm a street guy, and this, that, and I feel that. But at the same time, if you know anything about history of rap, if I have a conversation with him and he's talking about Slick Rick, it's like, okay, he knows a little bit about hip hop. I'm gonna try to take it there. You know what I'm saying? And that's what normally happens with a lot of rappers when they surface with you. They just tell you, yo, I'm, you know what I'm saying? And then, you get tapped in and you're in there 12 hours, 24 hours in the studio with them, and they jump back and you like, oh, okay, you really know who Kweli is. You really know who Slick Rick is. Oh, let's try this. You know what I mean? But it still has to be within their spectrum. Like, Circulate wasn't a record that was like so far off from what he normally does. He was still talking the same thing. And it just happened to have, a story to it. he was talking about recession. And Circulate was about being Robin Hood and getting people back in space, back in the mind space. So, you just get there by conversation. That's the only way you can do it with anybody is conversation.
How did it feel having one of Jay-Z's greatest verses ever on a track?
Man,
his first placement ever.
First placement.
But that was your Go Crazy was your first
placement ever.
Wow.
It's real crazy because I didn't believe when it happened. Coach had told us, yo, I got something for you. I was like, man, get out of here. Not to think Jay-Z. I grew up, Jay-Z my favorite rapper. I grew up trying to do records for him. And I think that's where that record came from. And then it just manifested into what it was. Drama and them took me to, Birthday Bash. And they did it there. I was just looking like, yo, I can't believe this
brought Jay-Z out.
It's happening, bro.
You didn't ask for a beat pack after that?
I sent a couple, but we were asked through Swiss. Swiss was working with him at the time. He was like, yo, send me some stuff for Jay. I sent some things over there. Wound up, some of them went to Cassidy and all that. And, I just, constantly send beats over the time. Whatever happens, happens. You know what I mean?
It was a moment, though.
Yeah, it was a super moment. Super moment.
Yeah. You and Uzi, y'all and Uzi good? Because I know there was one time when Uzi wasn't recorded, he wanted to get released, but I know that happens every time with artists and labels. Are y'all settling out? Y'all good now?
Yeah, we good, man.
Yeah, everything good, man.
Why does he always talk to you, Drama? He always shits on you. He never said anything about John Cannon or Sheezy. It's always Drama. Drama's always the guy that's holding Uzi's records from coming out.
I mean, I think when it comes to the drama, like I'm pretty much the face of the drama majority of the time.
You chose the name.
Yeah, it was the gift, the gift and the curse of the name. So I got to take that on the chin, I guess.
Where would you say things went wrong with Uzi, if something went wrong?
I don't know if I would really say anything went wrong. I mean, honestly, as we've told the story or the narrative, like the things that Uzi did on social media was I mean, he kind of was doing that from the beginning per se. Like, you know, when I first met him and we were originally about to go in business, he said, "Drum, I'm gonna be more famous than you." And I was like, "Well, shit, if you're not, then I didn't do my job." So, you know, I would hope so. Or, you know, he cracked a joke on my jeans when he first came on the tour bus when we was on tour with Wiz Khalifa. So, I mean,
when he said they were too baggy.
I don't even remember what he said. You remember that?
Oh, he was killing you though.
Yeah, you know,
First day, I was like, "Damn, we about to sign this kid. He gonna kill us every day."
Classic Uzi, but I mean, you know, and for us, we never came out and defended ourselves when, you know, the narrative was that we were doing bad business or holding up music, and you know, it was a fight that we didn't want to have because we were invested, you know what I'm saying, and his success is our success. And then, you know, at the time, like when you have a artist on that level of that superstardom, it's like it doesn't really matter what we say per se, you know. So we just let it kind of play out how it did, you know.
Did y'all feel like it was like fucking up the brand of Generation Now? Like when you got your flagship artist who pops off.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
I mean, imagine like just the success that we've had. Imagine if we would have came out the gate with an artist of his stature that would have been waving the flag, you know, instead of, you know, kind of, you know, stepping on the flag per se, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you know, I mean, we would have loved for it to have gone another way, but, you know, with all that being said, you know, we still, you know, we take the good with the bad, and, you know what I'm saying? We keep pushing. Like,
y'all still eat off it though, right?
Yeah, of course. We're still in business with Uzi.
Still in business.
Yeah, definitely.
What have you learned from dealing with Uzi that you apply to, you know, the new guys, the Jack Harlows, what is his name, Shetty Hendrix? Shetty Hendrix?
Yeah. I think the main thing is, man, we develop these relationships like at an incubator stage. So, you know, it's almost like we're raising these kids like as a part of our family, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of our relationships originally, they're not really business interests. It becomes a personal interest, you know, and that's something that we really don't talk about. Like, everybody says it's business, but, you know, at the beginning, you develop relationships with these kids, with their parents, with their family, you know what I'm saying? You're taking care of them, and then they reach this level of success, you know, and the easiest thing for somebody to do is kind of get in their ear, you know, and it depends on the type of person that you're dealing with to either, you know, deal with the criticism or deal with what they're hearing and let it go in one ear out the other, or either take it, ingest it, and say, hey, well, maybe I can get in a different situation, and so on and so forth. So I think the main thing is like maintaining our stance together as a unit more than anything, like standing on what we believe in, you know, and keeping it more business and kind of leaving the personal side away from it. You know what I'm saying?
Was it hard to sign other artists after that? Like, you're like, nah, Uzi said y'all jerking people.
We definitely felt some effects of that for sure.
Yeah.
You know,
we were in the running for a couple guys that are you know, that are popular right now, and whether they said it or not, I think in the back of their mind they're like, damn, Uzi's talking about these guys, so what, you know.
And honestly, you know, at the time too, like Jack was really evolving as an artist, and you know, he kind of was very outspoken, and you know, when people was like really coming at me and coming at us, like, you know, Jack was like, yo, this is my guy, you know what I'm saying? These are my guys, you know, and I wear the Generation Now flag proudly, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I definitely got to salute to him for, you know, when we looked crazy in the public, like he really, you know, stood next to us and was like, these are our guys. So, you know, I definitely thank him for that, you know what I'm saying? So now looking back on it, it's a different narrative.
Now I noticed, even last time you were up here, we were talking about Drake and your little tiff with Drake, and I see Drake squash this beef with Charlamagne. And
why you say tiff? I think it's because you light skin and Drake light skin. You that tiff?
It wasn't a beef. It wasn't a fight. It was a tiff.
A tiff?
A little tiff. Did y'all squash your little tiff?
I mean, you know, we've had small talk. You know, we've talked.
Small talk.
No, I'm just being real. Like, you know, I mean, I honestly haven't seen each other, but you know, since I guess as you will put it, a tiff, like we've been in communication lightly, you know, somewhat. So, and I mean, you know, at some point, I'm sure, you know, we'll get an opportunity to sit down and really just, you know, build. Not even, you know, I feel like he's past that, we're past that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's where it's at, really.
You know, I always wondered, like, how did y'all maintain y'all relationship? Because, like, when you think Gangsta Grill's affiliates, Drama was the face of it for so long. Like, was it ever a thing? Like, was it hard to play the position with?
Nah, not even. So. Not for me, because I'm not selfish. I'm humble. You know, I know what he does. I was saying, hey, he's the Kobe. I'm going, you know, play play ball with him. You know what I mean, and make the team great. That's all. I'm not even tripping. We're not tripping at all. He not tripping on me. I'm not tripping on him. And and Lake ain't tripping on us. That's how we stay together. It's like, hey, we like a family. We always gonna have arguments. We always gonna go through stuff, but we stuck together because we not tripping on each other. We just like, hey, we gonna thug it out and get right.
Because those mixtapes branded everything. Like we knew the affiliates.
Facts.
We knew Cinch, we knew Cannon, but we just always saw Drum.
And we had each other back. There was times, again, Drum told the story. It was like he had to go on the road and be with Tip because that was building the brand. And I had to fall back and, handle the mixtapes for him. You know what I'm saying? And it's stuff like that normal other teams wouldn't. You know what I mean? And we do it because we just been that tight, and the whole time.
Yeah, and I think, we know each other's strengths. We know each other's weaknesses and what have you. And we definitely, play our positions and our roles and everything. And it really works out great, honestly. You know what I'm saying?
I think we all know who we are. You know what I'm saying? I think, we always say, Drum's the face, Cannon's the music, and I do the business. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think we ever step in each other's lane. We all trust each other. You know what I'm saying? It's never really a question. I don't have to ask Cannon what a mix sounds like. I don't have to ask Drum what he said in the interview. And they don't really have to ask me questions when I handle business on the back end. So, there's a lot of trust that goes into that, too.
What happened the other day, Drum, when they kicked you off a flight for recording? That shocked the shit out of me.
He was being a super spreader. He was a super spreader out here.
Yo, that shit was crazy. I'm glad this kind of worked out in this way, just so I can go on air on the you guys' platform, which is one of the biggest platforms in the world. It says United sucks. They need better training of their employees. The one mistake I made, honestly, was that if you watch the videos, I was recording, an incident that happened previous to the incident with me, and the employee, the flight attendant told me, you can't have your phone on. You have to turn your phone off. You're not allowed to record, and that's not true. As long as your phone is on airplane mode, your phone can be on. My mask was kind of below my nose, and they give you a warning. They have these cards that they give you warnings on, and she gave me my warning, and I respectfully put my mask up, and I didn't give no problems or nothing. And she was on one that day, and she called the customer service guy on, and then he asked me about it, and I was calm and respectful with him, and he told her, he said he's gonna keep his mask on, and she went and was like, he can say anything, we don't know what he's gonna do when we get in the air. And I'm like, well, you don't know what anybody on this plane is gonna do once we get in the air. Anybody could do anything. And long story short, they wound up kicking me off the flight, and I just wanted to document it and just show how I gracefully handled the situation. So
where were you?
I was in, and only mind you, I'm a Delta guy, so shout out to Delta. If I haven't said it, United sucks. But crazy. I was in Miami and I was going to Texas. I was going to Houston. The only reason why I even took United, which sucks, is because I wanted to, I didn't want to connect in Atlanta, so I got a little lazy. So
Damn.
Yeah.
Did they reach out at all?
Yeah, they sent me an email and they said I'm banned from United Airlines. So.
Really?
Yeah,
they did you a favor.
Yeah, I can't fly on United.
No,
they
didn't.
No, they did. They sent me an email yesterday.
They banned you?
Yeah, they banned me. Yeah.
Why?
Wow.
There was no warning?
Good question. They said I have 96 hours to reply, so we're going to see how it plays out.
Damn.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I just want them to have better training for their employees. I'm good. When the cops were super cool about the situation when I got off the plane, and they're like, yo, just stay calm, because if not, they're not going to book you on another airline. They're not going to reimburse you. And I was like, yo, they can suck my dick. I don't care. At this point, I don't care about the money. I'm just going to post this. I did what I needed to do at that point. I didn't care about the rebooking. United sucks, man.
I saw you still made your party, though.
I did. They couldn't stop the shine.
So you got on another airline?
I did. I went back to Delta where I belong.
Okay. Now, Sheezy, I want to ask you a question because I think you'll be honest about this.
Talk to me.
Is DJ Drama the most popular mixtape DJ of all time? Is Gangsta Grillz the most popular mixtape series of all time?
Those are two different questions, and that's what I think everybody gets caught in when they had a discussion. And Envy, you my dog, you know that for life. But I do think Gangsta Grillz as a brand is the biggest mixtape series of all time.
I agree.
We just had this conversation in the lobby. I love Clue. That's my partner. Love him to death. But what would be the series that you would compare to Gangsta Grillz? The series, not a verse, not a song, not a tape. What series of clues would you compare to Gangsta Grillz? That's all I'm saying. Drum stuck with one brand and wrote it out to the end. He didn't change a bunch of names of the tapes, and I think that's what people aren't taking into consideration. They're turning it into, well, this person is my favorite DJ. All he's saying is the most important brand to the mixtape series, and this is his partner. He had a mixtape series too. He had 28 grams. That was super important. But I'm just saying, as far as the brand and the title, there was nothing more powerful.
It is very hard for a New York DJ to give that up.
Yeah,
That's what I always say in my
we were just looking at somebody's page. I think it was
ringing
Roy's
his fist right now.
I think Envy's too rich to care. I don't think
Envy on the real though.
Like
Do
a
you think anything?
conversation. Who's the best MC? Biggie, Jay-Z, and Nas, right? So you got people that's gonna say DJ Drama. You got people that's gonna say DJ Clue.
Right.
But nobody's wrong. You know
But
what I
no,
mean?
mixtape brand
What
envy.
series
When
would you?
when it comes to brand, as far as mixtape, no, there's no bigger brand than that Gangsta Grill series.
Okay, yeah, real rap.
Clue taking you out as well.
When it comes to
was
the
big to
biggest
hear, Envy.
mixtape
No, that was big to hear.
DJs, but when it comes to the biggest mixtape DJs, my opinion is DJ Clue. That's but it is. That's
Can't
my
argue that. Can't argue that.
I think that's kind of debatable too. It's a debate. I would lean Clue.
Is it fair to compare it to the Jordan, Kobe, LeBron debate? I mean, because there would be no DJ Drama if there was no DJ
All right,
Clue.
so I got a question.
You know what I'm saying?
So here's a question. He said Biggie, Jay-Z, and Nas, right? Why are we naming 5 or 6, 7, 8 DJs that's in comparison outside of you and Clue? And maybe Envy and, that when we hear these, people were in the comments talking about, hey, well, this person and that person, this person. It's like, how are we even talking about that? Let's keep it at 3.
Conversation's
It's
only
Clue and Drama.
Yeah.
It's only Clue and Drama.
Yeah, it's
That's-
Clue and Drama.
that's
Yeah.
conversation.
Okay.
Any other DJ could get butt hurt, but let's be honest, the conversation is only Clue and Drama. Like DJs have all did their thing, but when it came to influence, tapes,
Global appeal,
Right.
national
Album.
global appeal.
singles, is only Clue and Drama when it comes to that era. You know what I mean?
doubt.
Including my brother, Drama, like that's what it is, like hands down.
And I think both of their brands serve two different purposes. I don't think people speak about that too. Like Clue was really like a flagship for artists to really come out, freestyle, let it be known. I think Drum was like the stepping stone, like or the precursor to the album, what people can do for mixtapes now, which may be an EP or so on and so forth. I think that's the biggest difference too. Like hearing Mace for the first time, hearing the Locks, that was my years in college. I remember it. That's what like Clue provided for me. But I think for Drum, it's a totally different thing. Like you hear people, you hear them buzzing, and then right before the takeoff, like that's when Drum comes into play.
But see, I wonder, right? Like, y'all did a smart thing because y'all did whole tapes with one artist.
Well, that's because of what the era we came up in. I mean, respectfully, like Gangsta Grills was born and was based upon what G Unit, what Dipset, what particular things were happening in New York at the time. So in comparison, like when I was younger, when I was a youngster making tapes, I was just biting Doo-Wop and Clue and Ron G and those guys at the time. But when I got to that level where okay, I'm in the game, this was the formula that I follow. You know what I'm saying? So that was what it's comparable to. You know what I'm saying? So it's a generational thing in some ways to me when I think about it. It's like salute to Chance. When Chance won a Grammy, he went for his quote unquote mixtape album. In his speech he was like, yo, shout to DJ Drama for he started this shit. You know what I'm saying? And some people got a little butthurt about the comments, but I understood where he was coming from, because for his era they look at it from what I did in the game. Like they look to me for that. You know what I'm saying? The same way I look to Clue. I mean, like I said, like there would be no Drama if there wasn't Clue. So just it's like that.
Do you celebrate Gangsta Grill's anniversaries? Do y'all celebrate like
Yeah.
Trap or Die?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Down with the Kings? Or...
Yeah, every time a tape anniversary comes around, definitely celebrate it. Yeah, I mean, because literally, it's so many classics. Like it's so many. Gangsta Grill's have been a part of so many careers and so many movements. So it's like it's astonishing to really to think about the history that was made, because you don't know when you're doing it.
Do the artists acknowledge that though? Like
Yeah,
it's like, because Wayne to me really started getting taken serious as a lyricist when Dedication started dropping.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So do they acknowledge that?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
I mean, artists' personality is their personality, but the majority of them do acknowledge it. When it's anniversary time.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And I don't know why people think they got beef too, John.
Why, me and
people
you?
still say no. Yeah. So I ran into somebody at the seminar.
They still ask. It's crazy,
That's
right?
your fault. What do you mean you wonder why? That's your fault.
That was an awkward day.
Did you see
5
yourself?
years ago.
What are you talking about? Did you see yourself?
We squashed that 5 years
Well,
ago.
people watch it
You know?
yesterday.
That's still watching. Yeah, they don't
We
know.
see each other. We see each other all the time.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing.
It made for a
But somebody
legendary
said that-
interview, that's for sure. But now they still ask about it. They still to this day.
Somebody connected the drum and hit me the other day and was like, yo, y'all still got beef? I'm like, no, what are you talking about? He was like, let me ask you a question. So what happened? I'm like, we talked about it.
It made for a classic interview. I'm not going to front, though. You know?
It was classic. It was classic.
It was a fun time.
Question: How did hip hop survive the FBI's raid of the affiliates?
I mean, hip hop is the phoenix, for real, for real. I mean, if you think about it, like, the whole game changed when that happened. Like, the mixtape game.
Yes. But people don't realize that for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, you know, it introduced the blog era, which, you know, was the precursor to the streaming platforms. You know, the blogs became the new mixtapes, you know, and then around that same time, there was a whole generation, a whole school of young artists that started to create waves with their projects, you know, i.e. Kendrick and Drake and Cole and, you know, Wiz, and we could go down the line. And, you know, these guys are all, you know, after that era per se. And, you know, another part about it is mixtapes became bigger business after the raid than they ever were. Because even during the times of Dat Piff and live mixtapes and everything, like, those guys were cutting real checks and spending real bags, whether they were paying artists, whether they were giving, you know, me monthlies just to, you know, when artists would come to me, I'd be like, yo, I can't, if you do a tape with me, we have to drop on Dat Piff, you know, because that's who I'm exclusive to. So, yeah, I mean, I think like anything in hip hop, when a raid happened, like, you know, it finds a way to survive. Like, it's just, you know, it's a culture that's dominant like no other.
I think people forget. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't 17 people get locked up with y'all? It wasn't.
17 people got detained. Me and Cannon were the only two that actually got locked up. But when they came, we had like 17 employees and staff or interns that, you know, were in the building at the time that they, you know, questioned and, you know, asked them where the guns and the drugs and, you know, all that shit
Guns
was.
and drugs?
Oh, yeah, they asked about all that.
That's what they came for.
When they came, they were like, yo, tell us where the guns and the drugs are. Like, y'all not fooling us. We know what's going on over here.
Somebody had to tell on y'all. It had to be.
Yeah, I mean, the story goes like there was a little kiosk in a mall in Morrill, Georgia, and there was a Peppermint Music in there, and the Peppermint complained about the kiosk that were selling mixtapes. So when the cops came to the kiosk, the young lady who worked there was like, nah, these aren't bootlegs. I get these from DJ Drama. Like, these are straight. And I guess that's how they started their investigation. And then the cops went to the RIAA, who, you know, then they got into cahoots and they did what they did.
Damn. What was going
Y'all got everything back, right? And never no charges. Y'all got everything back, no charges, nothing, no apologies, no my bad. It just went away.
Yeah, me and Cannon had to record a PSA for the RIAA that they never put out, actually.
What?
Yeah.
No bootlegging PSA?
Yeah, like one of them.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Yeah, one of them.
And shout out to a kid. It was a kid, right? It was a kid that was working at the RIAA, and he was basically hipping them on what we did. Like, nah, look, those guys are good. The guys that were pressing charges, it was like a little intern that worked at the RIAA, and he was basically telling them like, yo, nah, these guys did this, they helped this is legit, da-da-da-da. And I think that was like, okay, we get it.
And real quick, an important
got out of the mixtape game because the RIAA used to send letters all the time. Every mixtape we dropped, and would say, "Hey, if you continue to do this, we're gonna press charges." Yeah. So we was like, we got to wiggle another way because we knew it was gonna happen. Yeah. I always thought it was gonna be Clue though. Yeah. I always thought it was
Clue might have dropped it down.
I mean, I think, you know, too, the other important thing about it is one thing, you know, and we've seen a few of them, but I think that era could dangerously go undocumented, you know what I'm saying, if we're not careful with the streaming platforms and a lot of those bodies of work, you know what I mean, because, you know, if you don't know, you don't know. You know what I mean? You don't know where to find, per se, a dedication to. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, one of our goals and things that we've been working on is definitely getting a lot of those, you know, important tapes up on the DSP.
Trapper Die's on title.
Yeah, Trapper Die's on there.
Yeah.
So shout to Trapper Die and go listen to it right now.
How did y'all feel, Sheezy, during that time? You was the businessman and then just Cannon being the, you know, other person in that whole situation. How did y'all feel?
So at the time, I was friends with him, but I wasn't directly working with him. Now the crazy story is, I was on my way to their studio with Freeway. That's who I was working with at the time, and I ain't gonna say his name, but a homeboy of ours text Freeway and was like, "Yo, don't go over there." I was like, "What the hell?" And we drove by, and that's why we saw. That's when we saw him outside. And the crazy part is, they'll never talk about this, but there was a studio right next door to him. with some people that we knew that we went to school with, and they used to get down a little bit too. So when I saw the cops there, I was like, oh shit, they coming to get them. But when I saw them outside, I was like, ah man. So, I mean, ultimately, I think the biggest question was like, how are they gonna bounce back? I think Drum was concerned, from a financial aspect because, I know he said it a million times. He looked at his account and, that thing said 0. So I think that's when we really started working really hard. I think we got on the road the next day. He did a show in North Carolina. Yeah, and
put my first album out around that time.
It was just interesting to see because I saw what they were doing and what they developed. And we were actually about to do a Mace tape at that time, too. I think I was working with Mace at the time. He was about to do a Mace mixtape. And just had to redirect. But it's been a blessing because it made him actually think about the actual label. So
what about you, Ken? How did you feel?
Honestly, at first, I didn't feel it. You know what I mean? Because I felt like they were wrong for what they were doing, but I understood it was a bigger picture. You know what I mean? So, I grew into it in the years. What made me think about it in better terms then is that me and Drum are back on better terms. When that raid happened, sometimes they tend to make you go against each other. And for a time, we fell out for like a year and some change or 2 years. And he was always there, like going to him, like, "Yo, nah, man, get back with him." And he would come over here and say the same thing to me. And I'm happy that happened. That was the best thing that came out of it at that time.
What was the issue over?
Well, you just don't know who to blame. You're just trying to figure it out, you know what I mean? And, it's something that you're just looking at, some people around that we didn't like at the time. It was just, in between us trying to divide us. And, I had to remember where we started, 98, 97, you know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, he's down by a call. So, I just, that was the best thing. I just glad it didn't end off us being 45 years old and just like running into each other like, "What's up, dog?" You know what I'm saying?
I wonder if it's because y'all got two different personalities. Like Drama, the flashy guy that's out front, you more laid back, you know what I mean?
But what the interesting thing about that is that, like, and I'm the persona, that guy, but in other settings, I'm more of the introvert, and Kennon's more of the outspoken one.
100%.
That'll speak his mind and go crazy.
True.
Kind of sit there and listen. But in public, we kind of play it a little different.
Yeah.
So what's the Tomorrow app? Am I saying it right?
Yes, Tomorrow.
Okay.
So Tomorrow is an on-demand gig app for freelance creatives and talent seekers. So basically bringing all the creatives together in one platform so you don't have to go to IG, Twitter, and just, I need somebody to do art. I need a hairstylist. I need a drummer. It's all in one space now. So you can go in there and, find creatives, and creatives can, find jobs. Because, once I seen as a creative like us coming up, like we run into so many people that have to do odd jobs because, they can't, keep their profession going. And I want to keep this profession going with the app.
Word.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask another question, just to piss everybody off. Every region has had dominant moments. South by far the most dominant.
Absolutely.
Right?
Can't deny it.
Why is that? Can you explain why that is?
Man, it's the sauce. I really don't know how to explain it outside of it's just the sauce. Like, there's just nothing like Atlanta when it comes to music. I don't even know how to put it into words.
I think it's also one of the first hubs, aside from, like, I think New York would have its run, but there was never a time where, like, people from Atlanta would move to New York. Like, Atlanta's a place that somebody from New York will move to, somebody from Philly will move to, somebody from LA will move to. So when these other regions have their moment, I don't think it gets to a point where it makes other people feel like they can go down there and accomplish what they need to accomplish. I feel like Atlanta's like the ultimate melting pot. I mean, we're a perfect example of that. These two dudes are from Philly, I'm from LA. Like, and we're based in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, people look at us like we're all from Atlanta. Like, and Atlanta's full of people like that. Like, you can come there, you can establish yourself, you can still identify where you're actually from, but it's a place where people actually like migrate to. Whereas when New York pops, you're not gonna see 20 people from Memphis, Tennessee trying to get on there. I think that's one thing that helps Atlanta a lot.
I think Atlanta's black excellence. I mean,
100%, absolutely, 100%.
Feel comfortable. Like, I love Atlanta because you get to see numerous black restaurants, numerous black clubs, numerous black venues, and you don't see that anywhere else. But Atlanta, you see that, and everybody's so welcoming.
Absolutely, and people in control and power too. Absolutely. I mean, Atlanta's just the other day. Atlanta's the only place I can think of you get off the plane, and as you're coming into the city, you see a big billboard at the airport of a brother named Killer Mike. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Or Ludacris. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I see Killer Mike. He talks at the airport.
You
When you
feel-
land.
yeah, that's what I'm saying on the video.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a different.
It's receptive to the culture. Like, it really, like, it's been a blessing to all three of us, honestly. Like, it's been a blessing to all three of our lives.
Cannon, did you think the South would have this long a run as a hip hop purist?
I did, because the one thing I learned was a lot of good rappers in the South, a lot of them. You know what I mean? And when I first moved there from Philly, I didn't expect it, because when I came down, it was a lot of jumping out the cars. I thought it was gonna be bass music. When I got there, it was like Master P, and it was crunk. But then as I dug in and started to see, it was so many pockets that you can find yourself in. It's like, oh, you from Atlanta, you rap like that? Okay. I got a respect there. And then their respect for a lot of stuff, I started falling in pockets, having conversations. They'd be like, yeah, we like Beanie Siegel out here. Yeah, we like so-and-so. I'm like, okay, I see what's going on. And then as you grow, you start saying, okay, T.I. can rap his ass off. You know what I mean? Jeezy really got bars. These guys got bars. So, you know what I mean? That's where I started turning over the leaf, like, okay, Atlanta got it. They got it for real.
And what's fire to see too is just how, like, every few years, there's always somebody new that comes from the city, like, that really has like a movement. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you can really look back to the 90s and look at every couple years, like, there's a face of hip hop that's from Atlanta.
What feels better to y'all? Just having a successful artist like a Jack Harlow, or a Little Uzi who's from Philly, or getting somebody from Atlanta to pop off? Which would feel better?
Ooh, they're all important. I mean, at this point, I feel like us having an artist that came from Philly was something we could check off per se for us. You know what I'm saying? Just to that's where our roots are. But at this point, I mean, there's still like, I'm definitely invested in signing and being a part of someone like that could necessarily also represent the Gangsta Grills brand per se. It might be from Atlanta, they might not. You know what I'm saying? Who knows per se? So it's all important. It's all impactful. I mean, I think even beyond that, just about where they're from or who they are, is just people saying that we couldn't do it again, or that seeing like it might have been luck or however. So after the success of Uzi, and then now with the success of Jack, it's like, yo, we're those guys. Like, we've been told y'all, like, we didn't just get here by luck.
Well, do y'all ever get flack from artists in Philly? Like, oh, y'all been repping Atlanta for so long.
For sure. I mean, I get calls every day about, signing more Philly artists. You know what I mean? And, it is what it is. I'm looking for them, but, y'all listening and y'all from Philly and y'all really got it, let me know. Let Drum know. Let Lick know. You know what I mean? But we get a lot of flack from a lot of friends. Like, man, come on, dog. So and so hot. But it all comes down to what we feel, and we can only go off that, the feeling that we get when we see the artist. It's that one thing we've always seen in all of them, and until that spark comes, we can't really, make a move like we want to make a move on it.
You and me good now, Drum?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah,
absolutely. Y'all ever feel like y'all might have to throw some reparations to Quentin Miller?
Man, we talk about that all the time, bro.
Really?
Honestly, though, I don't think it was really our fault with Quentin. I don't think so. Like, I think we embraced Quentin. We really didn't, like, we were invested in Quentin as an artist. Like, we weren't really going around telling people that he wrote or did anything. Like, we liked the group that he was in. It was him and another cat, and we really liked him. Like, it was kind of, the fact that he wrote for a bunch of people or wrote for, for whoever was secondary to us. We were interested in dude, like, beyond that. You know what I mean? It was just extra incentive. So I hate that it played out for him, because he's really a nice kid, you know what I'm saying? And, he was just honestly trying to create like an honest way of living for himself. And he was super talented, you know what I'm saying? And I just think if the emotion was removed from it, it really could have played out a different way for everybody, but I think there was a bunch of other emotions involved that made it play out the way that it did.
Yeah,
so.
He's still around too.
Yeah,
he gets tutelage from us, and that's a form of reparation, you know what I'm saying, for what he does. He calls every time, who should I mix with this, or how should I do this song? We run into him. He's not, honestly, bro, we've seen him in the studios. He could have hid in a corner somewhere. He came to the studio like, yo, I'm here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it happens, you know what I mean?
Would y'all ever bring him back in officially? Just even for his pen? Or
I think he got a deal.
He actually works with a couple of the in-house producers that we work with too, consistently. So he's good.
Yeah.
Who you got to deal with?
I don't know, but I heard it because one of the guys that works with him, Cole, he's getting ready to put out an album.
Mm-hmm.
Just when I was saying, he just hit us up like 2 weeks ago to see who is the best mixer for his music because he wanted to take this project to the next level.
Dope.
And I was having a conversation. I'm like, oh, he get ready to put out a project. You know what I'm saying? But I never asked him who it was with. But you know what I mean?
But dude is dope though.
Yeah, he's dope.
He's
dope.
dope. Got it. And I respect him because one of the first things he said when he came back to the light was like the one thing that he regretted more than anything was that, the relationship that he had with us kind of fell through. Because for real, we had a real good relationship. We didn't ask for much from dude. He didn't ask for much from us. It was really organic, like most of our relationships are. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, I feel like unfairly, like, we got a lot of fingers pointed at us, and Quentin also got the short end of the stick in a lot of ways. So I always felt, compassionate for how it played out for him, and then just even for us, like, taking a lot of those bullets per se. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because it played out how it played out, but no one really will necessarily ever know the full story of how it went. Like,
who knows the full story?
I knew that was coming.
I do.
Will it ever be told?
I mean, I think about that at some times, but then I also think about like how many stories in hip hop there are that haven't been told, and I don't honestly know if that's my decision to necessarily make per se. You know what I'm saying? I know that there's still our side in a lot of ways that can still be told, and maybe one day we'll see how it plays out. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all have been a part of some amazing hip hop moments.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about.
No, for real, yo. Like, for real. Like, some really great moments. Like, I don't think you can keep that to yourself.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and with you saying it in that context, that is what I think about. In all fairness, like at some point, it's just for the culture, it may need to get told.
I mean, listen, you got Big U and Trick and Bimmy and all those guys telling their story. Deb Antony, it's like, why not?
No, I feel you,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's in a sense, if you look at it in that way, it's still a little fresh. So I give it a couple more years per se, but it's a lot. It's a lot. He's still keep to myself. Let's put it like that.
Y'all seen a lot of success with Uzi and Jack Harlow. Who's next?
Seddy Hendrix.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the one.
Seddy's fire too. Shout to Jacksonville, Duval, and he's just like, I mean, obviously, we're gonna campaign for him, clearly because he signed to us. But the kid's his music is it's potent and it's strong. So I'm happy and excited that he's up next.
Yeah, we also signed our first R&B act too.
Word?
So we're excited about that. Yeah.
Who's that?
Female by the name of Carvina.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're super excited about that. Shout out Illuminati, but we keep it small. But I think we only like 5 artists deep right now.
And boutique label.
Yeah.
When did y'all realize it was time to invest in the youth with Generation Now?
I think that's always been our thing. I mean, if I think about just like where we started, where we come from, and like where we're at, like. Or even just as mixtape DJs per se, like I'm sure Envy can attest to this, like, or even as DJs in general, like, it's the addiction to the new shit or like being ahead of the curve and like, knowing what's fresh and like keeping your ear to the streets. So, when Generation Now is the perfect title for the label and what we wanted to represent because, what I'm saying? I mean, we just, what we feel like is important in the culture and is potent is like, what's going on right now and what's about to happen. So it was always our thing. Like, we never were interested necessarily in as some of the old heads would say, dusting off bums.
Yeah.
Well, my last question, why should people sign to Generation Now? What does Generation Now offer that you can't get anywhere else?
A lot. Yeah, a lot. I mean, I don't think there's a 101 to win, and if it was, everybody would be winning. I think that's the one thing. But I think one thing we allow is like growth as an artist. If you look at even when we first signed Uzi, he wasn't necessarily the popular thing to sign. He's a little kid with green hair. Like, traditionally people would expect Drum Cannon to sign somebody like Jeezy or T.I., like a street guy from Atlanta or so on and so forth. When you look at Jack initially, And you know, people told us he looked like Napoleon Dynamite. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of it for us is like showing and proving that we can help build something and take it from one step to the next. Because one thing I can say about Jack and Uzi is it took a while, but I feel like they're here to stay. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of kids in this generation, especially with, you know, the streaming services, I think they live microwavable. You know, they have microwavable moments, like 5 or 6 months where they're hot. I think we're trying to create like artists that have like a nice longevity with them. So if that's what you want, come on in.
Perfect way to put that. Perfect way.
All right. Well, thank you, your brothers, for joining us. Don Cannon, Easy DJ Drama.
No doubt.
Appreciate you, brothers.
Love you.
My dog, appreciate it.
You already know.
All right.